front-end development that popularly everyone knows, React, Angular, and Vue.js. Before going to use these all the leading technical stacks, earlier we were developing front ends by using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, Ajax, and all. So we need to understand firstly what are the challenges we will be getting if we not opt these kind of leading technical stacks. By using normal HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and JavaScript, we'll be developing individual pages, establish the links between them. In this manner, every single page at a time is going to download on your browser, and then you can able to view the front end, view the UI part, and then able to interact with the server. So the to and fro between the server, at the same time downloading the entire page, right, one at a time. That are the challenges over there. So in this manner, the loading time, right, interactive time will be required more, and due to the demands of various e-commerce applications where all the images, interactions, and the rapidly search, rapidly book, rapidly pay need to be there. So in such situations, if you want to if you want to compromise on the loading time, right, interactive time with the server, probably we will be losing the business sort of it. So instead of that, we need to switch on a single page application, right, or component based Node.js family is introduced for that. So right now we are all developing front ends using Node.js family, and the entire HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstraps get replaced by the component-oriented like frameworks, component-oriented applications. And here is what we are going to discuss with the Team Axiom about this all Node.js family, React, Angular, and Vue.js. What are the pros? What are the cons? Well, which technology is best in what? That comparative analysis. At the same time, will be going to discuss with Team Axiom the hands-on experience. We created the three different teams. One is going to give you the guidelines on the React. Second is go to guidelines and demonstrative code of the Angular and the Vue.js, so that we all can get the detailed comparative analysis, which will be based on what are the merits, right? What are the best situations to use that all the tech stacks. As we know, React comes in the format of library. Rather, Angular we are saying full framework, and Vue.js as a framework over there. Now, why we are saying Angular as a full framework and why Vue.js as a framework, we'll be going to discuss in the upcoming discussions. In case of React, it's a ease of learning is medium, but in case of Angular, ease of learning is difficult, and in Vue.js, it's very easy to learn. If you compare it, if you compare with React, the performance wise, React is performance is high, Angular is a moderate, and again Vue.js have a high performance. In case of flexibility, React high, Angular low, strict low, and Vue.js high again. I'm talking about the flexibility. Best use case, single page applications. In case of React, in case of Angular, dynamic UI, enterprise applications, and in case of Vue.js, small to medium projects can be handled like as a best case in a Vue.js. As a community support, because obviously whenever we are into the development, we need support. As a community support, in case of React, it's a very large support. It's highly popular, right? You can get all the support from the community. In case of Angular, also it's a large support, but in case of Vue.js, it's a growing. Right now, the market of the Vue.js is growing. So, as it means we are going to discuss on these all the factors in today's discussions. I'm hand over these sessions to the team Axiom. They'll be they'll be they'll be initially demonstrating us from where this right from the installation of the software, right from the developing the code and making more comparative analysis, so that at the end of these sessions we all will be used to why this technology has to be used, what are the merits, what are the pros and cons over each other. Over to team Axiom.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's live session. We are going to break down three of the most popular JavaScript frameworks, that is React, Angular, and Vue.js. If you have ever wondered which one should I learn or which one is best for my project, then stick around because by the end of this session you will have a clear answer. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments you have worked with any of this framework before or you are totally new to them. Alright, here's what we are going to cover today. Why do we even need JavaScript frameworks? What are React, Angular, and Vue.js? Where are they used in real world applications? How do they work? A head to head comparison of future scope, their advantages, disadvantages, and challenges. And finally, what's the future of these frameworks? Sounds good, let's go. Now, before we start comparing them, let's understand why we even need these frameworks. Imagine you are building a house. You could start from scratch, cutting every piece of wood, laying every brick by hand, or you could use pre-built components like door, window, and walls. That's exactly what React, Angular, and Vue do for the web development. Instead of writing everything from scratch in JavaScript, this framework gives a structured way to build apps faster with better performance and scalability. But wait, if they all solve the same problem, why do we have three different options? That's what we will explore next. Let's break it down in simple terms. React, developed by Facebook. It's not actually a framework, it's a library for building UI components. It's fast and flexible. If you talk about the Angular, built by a Google, this is full-fledged framework. It comes with everything, routing, state management, and TypeScript. Next, Vue.js, the newcomer, designed to lightweight and easy to learn. It's a big in Asia. So React is like a Lego blocks. You pick what you need. Angular is fully furnished apartment. Everything is built in. Vue.js is like DIY kit, easy to start but still powerful. Alright, let's talk about real world application. React, you are using it right now. If you are used Facebook or Instagram. Angular, if you have watched a YouTube video, congrats, you have used Angular. Vue.js, every shop on Alibaba, that's Vue in action. Each has its own space and companies pick them based on their needs. Let's let's get technical. But don't worry, I'll keep it simple. React. Use virtual DOM, meaning it updates only what changed. Make it super fast. If we talk about the Angular, uses a real DOM and two-way data binding, meaning changes in the UI reflect in the data instantly. If we talk about the UJS, also uses a virtual DOM but has the simplicity of Angular two-way data binding. Think of a React like restaurant menu. Only the item you would order gets updated. Angular is like a buffet. Everything is constant changing. Vue.js is like a food truck, quick, simple, and efficient. If we talk about the advantages of all these three frameworks, React is fast, has reusable components with huge community. Angular has complete solution of strong TypeScript support. Next, the Vue.js is simple, easy to integrate, and lightweight. As we saw the advantages, there are maybe some disadvantages. So React needs extra library for state management. Angular has steep learning curve and it is heavy for small projects. Vue.js has smaller community and not always enterprise ready. Now you might think which one should I learn or use? It depends on project size, team expertise or scalability. If the project size is large, we can go with the Angular. If it is small, we can go with the Vue. And if it is the balanced project size, then we can go with the React. If we talk about the team expertise, if your team has TypeScript, Angular is great. If they are new, Vue.js is easier. Scalability needs long-term support. React or Angular you can prefer. No one size fits all solution here. What's coming next? Future scope. React has server component and has concurrent mode, whereas Angular has standalone components and fast builds. Vue.js has Vue 3 with composite API improvements. All three are evolving fast. So the best framework is the one that keeps up with the trend. We have covered the why, what, and how of React, Angular, and Vue.js, along with their advantages and some really interesting insights. But now it's the time to see them in action. My team member will now take over and walk you through the installation and hands-on demonstration of each framework. So stay tuned and stay focused because by the end of this session, you will witness a real comparison of all three frameworks right before your eyes. Over to my teammate for the live demonstration.
Now, let's step into the world of React.js, a powerful and widely used JavaScript library for building dynamic and interactive web applications. Before we get started, it's important to note that Node.js is required to work with React. It sets up the necessary environment and allow us to use npm to install dependencies and manage our project efficiently. Let's get started. First, we have to install Node.js. To install the Node.js, first we will open the browser and search for Node.js. After the searching the Node.js, we have to download the Node.js LTS version. After the installing the Node.js, we have to finish it by the next and finish command. As I have already in my system, I will just let it. First, we have to check whether the Node.js is installed in the system. So first we have to open cmd and search for the Node.js installation. So first we will give the command node -v. Now the version is showing, so Node.js is successfully installed. After the Node.js, we will see if the npm and npx is installed. So I will give the command npm -v. Now the version is showing. After the npm, we have to check whether the npx is installed. Now we can see that node, npm and npx all are installed in the system. Now we will set up the React.js folder in our system. So first we have to create a folder on the desktop of React.js. After the folder is made on the desktop, then we will open the folder. As you can see, I have created a React.js folder on the desktop. After opening the React.js folder, we have to create a new project in the React.js. So for creating the new project in the React.js, we have to give the command npx create React app and give the project name. Now the project has been created in the React.js folder. React stands out for its component-based architecture, virtual DOM and efficient rendering, making it a go-to choice for modern UI development. Now let's see what is npm and npx. npm is a package manager for JS mainly used to install, update and manage dependencies in a project. npx is used to execute npm packages without installing them globally. Now the project will install all the packages in the project, which will install the React, React DOM, and React script in the project. As it requires some time to install all the packages in the project, which is a web project. As you can see, all the packages are installed, and also they are installing the dependencies using npm. Now here you can see that the web project is made. I will give the command cd backstop, and I will give the command npm start to run the project on the local host. Now you can see that the React.js project which we have made, web project, is successfully running on the local host. After installing the Node.js and React.js in the system, now we will open the VS Code. Here you can see that our project is made web project. First, we have to install the extension which are required for the React. First is a simple React snippet, and second one is ES7 plus React, which we have to install the extension for the React.js. After installing the extension, now let's see the folder structure of React.js. Now, now this is the root directory of the project. This is the main project directory containing all the files necessary to build and run your React application. It includes folders like node module, public, src. It also has configured files like package.json and gitignore. Now node module. This folder contains all the installed dependencies and library required for your project. It is automatically created when you install npm and yarn install. Public. This folder contains static assets that do not change dynamically and are directly served to the browser. Index.html. This is the only HTML file in the React project. The div id root is inside this file where your React app gets injected. React dynamically manipulate the file and inject component inside the div id root. Now, favicon.icon. This is the website icon displayed in the browser tab. Now you can see the logo. Default logo images used in a progressive web apps. Manifest.json. This file defines how the app appears when installed on a mobile device. It includes the app name, icons, and colors. Robot.txt tells search engine how to crawl your website. Now, src. src is the main source code. This is where your React application logic lives. It contains components, style, app logic, assets, hooks, and content. Now, components. This folder contains the reusable UI components. Each file is typically a React component. Each component should have its own file. App.js. This is the main component of your React app. It acts as the root component and includes other components. App.css. This is the main component of your React app. It acts as the root component and includes other components. App.test.js contains the test cases for app.js. Index.js. This is the entry point of your React app. It renders app into a .html file. It improves React, React DOM, and app.js. Index.css. This contains global style for the entire app. Logo SVG is a sample SVG image used in the app. Report Web Vital is the helps in measuring the performance matrices of the app. Setup test.js configure the test environment. Gitignore specifies which file should not be committed to Git. Prevents unnecessary file from being uploaded to a repository. Package.json. This file manages dependencies, scripts, and metadata of the project. Package log.json logs down the version of the installed dependencies. Readme.md contains the documentation of the project. Let's see a to-do list task which I have created using the React. Now I will use the command npm start. Now this is the to-do list task which I have made using the React. Here we can add any new task just like we can add the project and we can cancel it. So this is the to-do list task which is used to add a new task which we have going to prepare or anything you can add here. Now let's see what is React routes. React routes are enable navigation between different pages in a React application without reloading the page. It allows for a single page application experience where content dynamically updates based on the URL. Now, first, we have to install the React router in the project. So I will give the command npm install React router DOM. Now, what is React router DOM? It is a popular routing library for React that allows developers to manage navigation and rendering of different components based on the URL. Instead of reloading the page, it changes the URL and renders the corresponding component dynamically. Now, after the installing the React Router DOM, we have to check whether it is installed or not. So I will go for package.json. Here you can see the React Router DOM is installed in the project. Now, setting up the route in the index.js file. Now, the main component responsible for handling route is browser router, which wraps your entire application and import the browser router from React Router DOM. After importing the browser router, we will create a component of each page inside a component folder like about login, about, contact, forward, navbar, services, register. As you can see that all the components are being made here, which we have to make. After making all the components, we have to create a navbar, and instead of using an anchor tag, we use link tag to components to prevent the page reloads. By clicking on this link, we'll navigate between the pages smoothly without refreshing the pages. Now, setting up the routes in the app.js. Now, routes. We have to set up the routes. A component group all the route definition. In routes, this is the parent route. After, we have to create a route, which is a part to a component. Now, what is path? Path is the default route for the home as about services contact register. We have to create a slash home, which will navigate to the home, slash about, which will navigate to about, slash services, which will navigate to services, as well as contact register and forgot password. Path specifies the which component to render and import navbar from dot component in the navbar. After we set the path, we have to import the component, which is here. You can see import home from dot slash component home. After importing all the components in the app.js, after importing, we will use the use navigate. Let's say we want to redirect the user to the home page after a successful login. We can use the use navigate hook for this. After the route process is completed, we have to run the project. As you can see, the login component is open in the localhost. So first I will give the username and password. Here you can see the login page. Here you can see the login component where you can see if we in the URL if we write slash home, it will redirect to the home component. If we write about slash about, it will redirect to about component slash contact. By clicking on the home page, the home component will open. About component, service component, contact, and logout. By clicking on the services, it will update the URL to the services. By clicking on the home, the URL will update to the slash home. Now on the logout, here we can see there is a forgot password. In forgot password, we can change the password. We can write any password and the password is updated. Now back to login. We will write the updated password. Now here you can see the home component is open. Now we have just walked through the installation process of React, explore its application, structure, and even build a simple to-do list together. I hope you all got a clear understanding of how React works in action. We also implemented React Router to enable a smooth navigation between different pages like Home, About, and Services, Contact, making our app dynamically seamless. Now, why use routes in React? It is smooth navigation without page reloads, easy to manage multiple page application, improve user experience with faster transition, enable conditional rendering based on user authentication. Now, it's time to move forward. My teammate will now take you into the world of Angular, where you will see its setup, structure, and a hands-on demonstration. So, stay tuned as we continue this exciting journey. Over to you, my teammate.
So hello everyone, I'm here to demonstrate the Angular. So now that we have explored React, it's time to move on to Angular, a powerful, structured and feature-rich JavaScript framework developed by Google. Before we begin, it's important to note that Node.js is essential for working with Angular. It provides the necessary environment for running Angular CLI command line interface, so which helps in setting up and managing Angular projects efficiently. So let's start by installing Angular, setting up our project and understanding its application structure. So finally we will build a project to see Angular in action. So for the demonstration of Angular, so first we need to install the Node.js in our machine. So for installing Node.js, we simply go to the browser and search for Node.js. Uh, from uh, from this web page, you can install or download the Node.js, as I have already installed in my system. So I'm simply writing the CMD in the search bar and opening the terminal. So for this, I'm checking the Node version. As you can see that it has been successfully executed, and it is showing the version of Node.js. Then now I'm checking the npm version. It is also showing the version of npm. So npm stands for the node package manager. And now I'm so now for installing the Angular, we need to give the command to terminal as npm install space hyphen minus hyphen g, and then space at the rate Angular CLI. So as you know, CLI stands for the command line interface. So as it may be checking some uh, requirements of the system, as I have already installed it in my system. So I'm just uh, terminating the process and just checking the same version of node in my system as ng space hyphen hyphen. version. So as you can see that I have successfully installed the Angular. So now let's create an app in our system. For creating a new project in our system, we need to give the command to terminal as ng or ng new. And we can give the command as my Angular app. So for this, for as it may take some time. So while the project is being generated, here's a quick insight. So Angular is a go-to choice for building scalable enterprise level applications. Thanks to its strong TypeScript support, component-based architecture, and built-in tools. So while the project is being generated, here's a quick insight that what is Angular? That AngularJS is a JavaScript framework designed to create dynamic single-page applications. It extends HTML with additional attributes, and it adds some directives also, and directives and provides the structured framework for building scalable, maintainable, and testable web applications. So now let's talk about the key features of AngularJS. So the first and main key feature is is its MVC architecture. So MVC stands for the Model View Controller Architecture. So the model is the entity who manages the application data. View is the displays data to the user, and controller is for the connect the model and view by handling user inputs and in updating the model. So now, so the other, uh, as we can see that the other feature of the AngularJS is two-way data binding. So basically, two-way data binding means that it automatically synchronizes data between the model and the view. Any changes in the UI update the underlying model and vice versa. So the feature of and the other feature of the AngularJS is the directives. So as I have already told you that it extends the HTML by adding some attributes and directives such as ngapp, ngmodel, ngrepeat, ngclick. So ngapp is declares the AngularJS application is the basic a directive which is used in the Angular. Then the key feature of the AngularJS is SPA. So SPA support is for the single page application support. It uses the routing to load different views dynamically without refreshing the page. So for this, we are using the ng route module which helps the define application routes. So as you can see by when we create the project in our system, so it takes some permissions that which style sheet format would you like to use. Then we are giving the permissions to this these requirements. As you can see that when this project is successfully created in my system. So now let's talk about the for application structure of AngularJS. So first of all, here you can see that there is a public folder. Public folder is likely as the asset folder in the React, as you can see, as you have already saw that. And the basically the public folder is used for containing the external URLs, images, and the other documents in the which we are using in the project. So this is the public folder. As you can see that there's an src folder also. So src folder is used for uh, src folder is for the is stands for the source folder, because it contains all application related files, the components, services, and modules also. So now let's talk about the app folder. So app folder is is the main application folder. So it contains the app.component.css, component HTML, spec.ts. So here app.component spec.ts is used for testing the application in the browser. And this is the main component.ts file, which is uh, mainly responsible for rendering the content in our browser. So as you can see, there is a app.routes file and app.routes.server.ts file. So app routes is basically used for setting or registering the routes in our project. So routes is for redirecting the pages in a single page redirecting between the components to the single pages, as we can done this previous as anchor tag in HTML. So now the the index.html file, as you can see, this is the main or responsible file uh, which is displaying in the browser. And this is the main.server.ts file, which is responsible for the configuration of server, as we are using the white. As you can see that Vue.js is the entity which is mainly responsible for displaying the web page in our browser. Then as you can see that we have also the style.css. This is the only CSS file which is used for the basic mainly used for styling the web pages in our system or in our web project. So, and as you can see that there is also the git ignore file, which is used for uh, those components which we're not committing in the git. So this the file which is uh, preventing the un, unusual file commitment of the GitHub. As you can see, there is also the angular.json file. So angular.json is used for containing the mm, dependencies and modules in our project, which is useful for our project. And this is the package log.json file. which is automatically generated when we create the project, or when we generate the project in our machine by entering in our terminal and giving the command as ngnew and our app name. So as you can see that I have created the code. Then now we can check about there are some files which is also need which is also mainly responsible for applying the routes in our project. So for that we have to give the command as, firstly we have to go to our app as my Angular app. Then we need to give the command as ng generate module app routing. As you can see that I have previously used it, so it has given me suggestions, and when we click on enter, it may give some error as, would you like to share pseudonymous? Then I will give yes. Then it will give some error as the app module. So app module is the file which is mainly responsible for adding the uh, mainly responsible for adding the routes in our system, or the modules which we have imported uh, pro- for the needful for the project. So it will helpful for that. So for that we need to create the app.module.ts file. So now when we give the command to our terminal as ng generate module, then it will create the file which is app routing module.ts, which is mainly responsible for giving the routes and registering the components in the which are useful for the project. Then as I have created the app which is Angular, as you can see that in that project I have there are some components which I have created, and the files as I have used for as it may be generated from the generating the. Now we'll go to the our app as cd Angular routes. Now for executing our project, as it is the main feature of model view controller, so it can automatically synchronizes the change in the code to the browser. Then we'll give the command as ng serve. So as it may take some time. Now check about the now we'll check about the flow of execution of the project. So firstly, the main file which is executing is the index.html. So the thing is that the flow of execution is basically works on the selectors part. So as you can see that there is a selector is named as app root, and app root selector is present on the app.component.ts. As you can see, there is a selector in the app component you can see, and uh, through which we are generating, or we are adding the our content in the browser. So index.html will firstly execute it. Then for that, so after this, you can see that there's an imports. So imports is mainly used for if any module which is used in in that file that you can see that I have used the in app.component.html. I have used router link module or router outlet module. So for this, you have to uh, you have to import that module in the imports array of the app.component.ts. So I have used that navbar component in the home page. So you can see that navbar component is imported in the imports array. Then we'll go for the then the next file which is executing after index.html is main.ts. It will check the modules uh, which are used in the project, and also for also importing the modules which is using which are using in the browser. As you can see that the bootstrap application module is used for uh, the connection between MVC sorry model and Vue as Angular platform browser. So after that, the file executed after main.ts is appmodule.ts. It contains the ng module. So ng module is basically used for the as we are using the Angular, which is 19, and it contains all the imports as ng module, browser module. Forms module is used for getting inputs from the user. Router module is used for getting for setting up the routes between the components, and login component which which we have been created, that login component, navbar, or home component. Then this is the auth guard or auth service, uh, auth service component which we have created. As you can see that these are the files, and auth guard and auth services. In auth guard, we are giving the validations to the form, as I've uh, created the form as login, and in that login form, if the uh, user identity or some credentials have been changed, then it will not go to the it will not go move to further. So auth.service.ts and auth.guard.ts is mainly responsible for that validations. Then the file after which is execute after the app.module.ts is the components of is the components which we have created. As you can see that I have created the about component, contact component, forgot password, home, login, navbar, and services. So as you can see that first of all we have when we log into the when we are logging in the to the project, then we are giving our name as a username and password. When we click on login, it will redirect it to the home page. As you can see there, the URL will be URL have been changed that from login to home. Then after that, when we click on the about, so you can see that it will redirect it to the about us component. Oh, sorry, about component. Then when we click on the service, it will redirect to the service component, and when we click on the contact, it will redirect to the contact component. So we can also redirect it to the home page without uh, going to the home page. As you can see that I have set up the routes on the Axiom logo also. So when we click on the logo, it will redirect it to the home page. Then when we click on the logout button, as it will as it will redirect it to the login component, and when we click on the forgot password it will ask to give your email, and then it will reset the password, and when we click on the back to login it will redirect it to the login component. As I am giving the credentials, as it will redirect to the home component. So we have just explored the installation process of Angular, understood its application structure, and even built a project together. I hope you all got a clear idea of how Angular works in action. Now let's move ahead. My teammate will now introduce you to Vue.js. So stay with us as we dive into the next framework. Over to my teammate.
Now that we have explored React and Angular, it is time to dive into Vue.js, a lightweight, flexible, and beginner-friendly JavaScript framework. To get started, we first need to install Node.js and Vue.js. So let's begin by the setting up the environment. Let's get started. For this, we have to first install the Node.js. We have to search the Node.js on the web browser. We have to click on the first website. As you can see here, the interface like this. We have to simply click on this download Node.js. As you can see here, the downloading process will be completed. Now we have to go to the download folder. We have to double click on it, and we have to simply follow the instruction. As I have already installed the Node.js, that's why I'm canceling it. After that, we have to little explore about the Node.js. So, Node.js is a runtime environment that allows you to run JavaScript code outside the browser, and it is designed for building scalable, high performance application, especially on the server side. After that, we have to install the Vue.js. So, we have to search the Vue installation. We have to simply click on the first website. We have to copy this command, open the command prompt and paste here. After clicking the enter button, we get installing this Vue.js. As I have already installed it, that's why I'm not doing it again. After that, we have to create a project. So again, open the command prompt. We have to pass the command as cd desktop, enter. Then pass the command view, create my view demo. This is the name of your project. We have to simply click on the enter, again enter. Since it takes a little time to generate the project, let me take a moment to tell you more about Vue.js. Vue.js is a widely appreciated for its simplicity, ease of integration, and reactive component, making it a go-to choice for building modern and dynamic web applications. As you can see here, the installation process will be start. It takes some time. As you can see here, our Vue.js is successfully installed. Now it will show the command as cd myVueDemo and the npm run serve. We have to just follow this command cd myVueDemo, enter, and the npm run serve is used to run our project. Now what is npm? The npm stands for Node Packaging Module. As you can see here, the local host will be generated. We have to simply copy this and paste it on our web browser. As you can see here, the interface like this, it means that our project is successfully created. As you can see here, the myVueDemo project is successfully created. We have to simply open it on VS Code. It will redirect to our VS Code. Now we have to install the extension for the Vue.js, which is Vue Official. As you can see here, the interface like this, we have to simply install on it. Now we will see the folder structure. First one is package.jsn file. This file carries all the old details of your project like name, version, public, private, dependencies, etc. As you can see here, the name, version, and the private. After that, we can see here the package log.jsn file. It carries the pre-structure of dependencies. This package have internal dependencies, carries the detail of old package. If we delete this package, it will not impact to our project, but all the dependencies are shown here. As you can see here, the dependencies. After that, the readme.md file. This is basically a rule book of your project. If you want to apply some rules like rules for function, classes, variables, you can mention your commands project detail here and description of your project. Now you can see here the babel.config.js file, making your application compatible with your browser. After that, we can see here the .ignore, the file which you don't want to update on your Git repository. Now we can see here the node module folder. It contains the lots of packages on it. So no need to push on the GitHub. It taking the lots of space. We are not using too much of this package. As you can see here, the lots of packages on it. These are the packages that supporting by the dependencies or any internal dependencies of our package. Now we can see here the public folder. It contains two files. First one is favicon.ico and another one is index.html. The favicon.ico it is used for the showing the icon as you can see here on the web browser. As you can see here the icon like this. This is shown because of this favicon.ico. Now we can see here the index.html file. This is the only single file in your project. It will carry the div tag and div tag carries the ID which is app. Folder. It contains the main.js file. This is the basically you can see here the app.view component. Don't modify this app.view. You can start the code here if you are expert in Vue.js, or if you are beginner, make your component inside a component folder. We have to just simply right click on the new file and create a component. For example, home.view. You can see here the home.view component will be created. As you can see here the hello world.view. This is also a component. Here we will write our HTML, CSS and JavaScript code. After that you can see here the assets folder. We can put here the images, icons, logo and CSS kind of things. As you can see here the logo.png file. This is the fine explanation of folder structure. So why use the components? For reusability. Use the same component multiple times in different part of your app. Modularity helps keep your code organized by breaking it into smaller pieces. Maintainability easier to update and debug because each component has its own logic. Scalability makes it easier to build and manage large applications. Encapsulation each component has its own data and style, preventing conflict. As I have already created a project, I am showing you which is my Vue app. It contains the folder structure as you can see here. We will run this project as passing the command on the terminal cd my Vue app, enter, then npm run serve. It gives a local host which is we have to copy and paste it on the web browser. As you can see here, I have created a project of to-do list task. So I'm adding one task which is my first task, add task. As you can see here, my task is added successfully. Now I have to remove this task. So simply click on this cross button as the task will remove. Now we were looking forward the routing in Vue.js. So routing in Vue.js allows you to navigate between different views or pages without reloading the entire page. As the Vue.js is a one-page application, Vue uses Vue Router, an official library, to handle the routing. For this, we have to first install the router in your project. So I have already installed the router in this project. So I will install on it. We have to open the terminal and we have to give the command which is npm install Vue Router. As you can see here, the router is successfully installed. Additionally, we have to install the Bootstrap dependency via command. So we will pass the command which is npm install Bootstrap and the Bootstrap icons. So the Bootstrap dependency is also installed. As you can see here, I have created a component like about.view, contact.view, forgetpassword.view, home.view, login form.view, and the navbar.view and the services.view. This is the components. So we will check one by one. First one is main.js file. As you can see here, the main.js. First of all, I will show the output of this project. As I'm passing the command which is cd myVueAxiom. MyVueAxiom is the project name. Now the npm run start to run this project. It give me the URL, copy this and paste it on the web browser. As you can see here, the interface of login component. So I'm giving the username and the password for login. As you can see here, the interface like this. The login form.view component, which is directly rendered to the component of home.view. So first of all, we will check the forgot password component. As I have clicked, if we want to set the new password, you can type here and click on the update password. As you can see here, the password updated successfully. Then again back to login. As you can see here, the home component. After clicking on the about component, it will render to the about component. Then I will click the services component. It will redirect to the services component. After that, I will click on the contact. It will redirect to the contact component. Also, I will click on the Axiom. It will render to the home component. This is the simple web application of the Vue.js. Now we will check the all the components on the VS Code. So first of all, the main.js file. As you can see here, the import create app from Vue. This imports the create app function from the Vue package. Create app is the starting point for creating a Vue application. It is used to initialize a new Vue instance. After that, you can see here the import app from app.vue. This imports the root component app.vue from the current project directory. App.vue is the main component that will be rendered inside the index.html. It acts as the entry point for the entire application. After that, we can see here the import router from router. This import the router instance from the router.js file. The router is responsible for managing navigation between different pages in a single page application. Now you can see here the bootstrap. We had import the bootstrap as I shown previously. Now the cons app equal to create app. It creates a new Vue application using create app. The app.vue component is passed as the root component for this application. The app is stored in the app variable, so we can add plugin before mounting it. Now you can see here the app.use router. This registered Vue router as a plugin in the application. App.use app.use router tells you Vue to use the router instance we import earlier. This enables page navigation using Vue router. Now we can see here the app.mount. This mount the Vue app to an HTML element with the ID hash app, which is found in the index.html file. As you can see here, now we will looking forward the router.js file. As you can see here, the import create router. This imports create router and create web history from Vue router. Create router is used to define the router for navigation. Create web history enables modern browser history modes. Now we can see here the import, login, main layout, home, about, services, contact, and forget password. This is the components which I have created in the components folder. We have to simply import on this view dot on this router.js. Each component represents a different page in the application. These components will be mapped to specific URL as I have shown in the output. Now you can see here the const route, create the router instance using create router, create web history enables the clean URLs. Route is the array of route definition declared earlier. After that, you can see here the paths. Define an array of route objects that map URLs or path to components. Each route has path, the URL the user will be visit. Example, the home, about, services, and contact. The view component to render for that route. When the user goes to the about, view loads the about.view component. When the user goes to the services, view load the services.view component. Same for the contact and the about and the home. Now you can see here the export default router. Export the router instance so it can be used in the main.js. This make it available for integration into the Vue app. Now we can see here the app.view. It contains the router-view tag. The router view component is a placeholder where view router will dynamically render the match component based on the current route. After that, we will see the neighbor.view component. As you can see here, the path is shown in the router link. In the HTML, we will simply use the anchor tag, but in the Vue.js, we will use the router link tag instead of the anchor tag. Each list item contains a Vue router link. As you can see here, the list item and the router link for the specific component like home, about, services, and contact. Router link is a special Vue component used to navigate between routes without reloading the page. When click the user navigate to the home page, the home.view component will be displayed. This list item follow the same pattern for the about, services, and the contact. View router intercept the click event on router link. Instead of making a full page reload, it updates the URL and swaps the component dynamically. Router view in app.view renders the component matching the URL path and faster navigation since it avoids full page reload. Now we will see the index.html. I already told you the div tag carries the ID which is app. This element is the root container where the Vue application is mounted. Vue will take over this div and dynamically render component inside it. After that, we can see here the main layout.vue component, which serve as the main layout for your Vue.js application. It includes the navigation bar, as you can see here, the nav bar, and the content area router view, where the different pages will be displayed dynamically. The template tag, as you can see here, we have to simply paste all the code in the template tag in all the component. As you can see here, the template tag in the login form, template tag in the contact.view, and so on. The navbar. This includes the navbar component, which is imported separately. It provides navigation option for the user. With the help of this, router view dynamically loads different component. Example, home, about, contact, services. It dynamically loads the components based on the current route. And the script tag, this section contains the JavaScript logic component. As you can see here, this is the JavaScript logic which we have placed in the script tag. As you can see here, the import navbar from components navbar.view imports the navbar component from the component folder. As you can see here, I have placed all the component inside the components folder. This allows us to use the navbar inside the template. This export default defines the view component, the main layout, uh, the name main layout, assign a name to the component which helps with debugging and development tools. Component register the navbar component so it can be used inside the template. As you can see here, the Vue.js is a one page application. While I'm clicking the about component or services component, the page is not loaded because it is the one page application. So it will rendering the component with the help of router without loading. Vue.js is a progressive JavaScript framework used for building user interface and the single page application. It is easy to learn and use. Vue, Vue has a simple and initiative syntax, making it easy to learn, especially if you are familiar with the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It is lightweight and fast. The loading to faster load time and the better performance. It is the very useful framework because it does not take too much time while working with the web applications. Now we have gone through the installation process of React, Angular, and Vue.js, explored their application structure, and even built in a simple to-do list in each framework. I hope this has given you a clear understanding of how they work individually. Now it's time to bring it all together My teammate will now take you through the comparison of these three frameworks, helping you understand their differences and strengths so you can make the right choice based on your need. So, stay tuned as we break it down for you. Over to you, my teammate.
As you just saw the installation and demonstration of all three frameworks in action, I hope you now have clear understanding of their application structure and to-do list that we implemented in each. To make the comparison even clearer, I will now elaborate on the difference between React, Angular, and Vue.js in tabular format for better understanding. Let's compare them side by side. There are some criteria such as performance, learning curve, community support, flexibility, tooling, and ecosystem. If we talk about the performance of React, it is fast DOM, virtual DOM. If we talk about the Angular, it is moderate and real DOM. If we talk about the Vue.js, then it is fast and virtual DOM. Learning curve of React is easy, whereas the learning curve of Angular is steep. The learning curve of Vue.js is moderate. If we talk about the community supports, the React has strong support and Angular is also having a strong support where the Vue.js has have a growing support. The flexibility of React is high, whereas Angular has low flexibility and Vue has moderate. Tooling and ecosystem of React is rich, whereas the Angular has comprehensive and the Vue.js has simple. So if you want flexibility, go with React. If you want all-in-one solution, Angular is for you. If you found this useful, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments which framework do you prefer. See you in the next live session. I am pleased to announce that our respected director, Mr. Sushil Pudke will now address your queries and questions. Please feel free to ask any doubts, your queries, thoughts about this amazing topic we explored today. Over to you, sir.
Hey, thank you, Team Axiom. It was really wonderful, and we take a lot of takeaway from this session related to the Node.js family, React, Angular, and Vue.js. Hopefully, with the attendees, all the live and YouTube link audience. Okay, probably every possible thing related to this framework is already clear to you. But anyway, if you have any queries, do write the queries over there in the comment sections. Yes, any queries for me? Yep, Revati, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question. How do React.js, AngularJS, and Vue.js handle state management, and what are the popular tools used with each?
Perfect. Now, in basically state management uh, means when you means passing on the user's data, right, or who is logged in, and at the same time how that data can be transferred. Means server will know that who is operating that, what is the user, and all this stuff. So obviously, in case of that, props are used, right, and to pass it on the data at the same time from one component to another component. At the same time, we'll be managing the cookies, right? So in this way, we can handle the state management for everything. It's all in every Node.js family. The single kind of approach we are following. Everything.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Yeah, Mohit, go ahead.
How do React.js, AngularJS, and Vue.js handle components, reusability, and scalability?
Yeah. The like basically as developing components and rendering the components, the main key feature. Now, reusability is mostly reusability of the components are mostly dealing with the React. And obviously the components which are already used, and they'll form the virtual DOM for the rendering, and then it comes to the, because we need to we need to understand the rendering mechanism of the components over there. Reusability means the already exist component which is already means rendered over there. It will be available in the virtual DOM, and it will then pass it on to the DOM. Right. So whenever you're talking about the reusability, React plays a vital role, and in this manner, components can be reused. Reuse means with not redeveloping, but the already rendered component can be, it can be in cache from there only. That is what they means. Reusing means. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. So I believe we are running out of time. So if you have any further queries, you do visit us, join us, right? And then these all the technical sessions really give us the guidelines, at the same time motivate Team Axiom to explore some more interesting topics for you. So I hope this session really uh, is informative for you, right? So for all the upcoming sessions, do join us, write us, and together we can make this IT world better to provide the best solution to the industry. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
team.
Thank you.